right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Dan Peak from the Chula Vista Police Department, and I oversee our Criminal Investigations Division. Thank you all for coming on such short notice today. Before we get into the press conference, I want to recognize a few individuals that are here. Of course, I want to recognize the Mayor of the City of Chula Vista, Mary Casillas-Salas. Also wanted to recognize the City Manager for the City of Chula Vista, Maria Cachadorian. And also wanted to recognize City of Chula Vista Council Member Jill Galvez. Before we get started in the press conference, I wanted to let you know that there will be two speakers. The first speaker will be the Chula Vista Police Department Police Chief Roxana Kennedy, and the second speaker will be the San Diego County District Attorney Summer Steffen. I also wanted to recognize several individuals that are to my left that helped make this investigation possible and lead to the ultimate arrest that took place earlier today. And that would be FBI from San Diego Special Agent in Charge Suzanne Turner, and also from the United States Marshal Service Supervisor Deputy Marshal Paul Bill. And then of course, I wanted to recognize May's family, which are all to my right here. And May's sister, Mary Chris, will be saying a few words today, and she'll be representing May's family. With that, I'd like to introduce the Chula Vista Police Chief, Roxana Kennedy. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. As Lieutenant Pink mentioned, my name is Roxana Kennedy. I'm the Chief of Police for the Chula Vista Police Department. And I want to first thank everyone for attending today's press conference with such short notice. Along with our law enforcement leaders, I am joined today by Maya Millete's family, her friends, and our community members. Today at 11:42 a.m., the Chula Vista Police Department SWAT team served an arrest warrant and arrested Larry Millete for the murder of his wife, Maya Millete. Larry was taken into custody at his home and was alone at the time of his arrest. And I know many of you are all very concerned about May's children. I want you to know that they are safe. May was first reported missing to the Chula Vista Police Department shortly before midnight on January 9th, 2021. May was last seen 2 days earlier by family members at her residence located in East Chula Vista. Since being notified of May's disappearance, officers and investigators have remained committed and committed to determining the circumstances behind her disappearance. As the scope and complexity of the investigation grew, so did the size and the scope of the investigative effort. The Chula Vista Police Department began a formal partnership with a multi-agency working group, including the San Diego District Attorney's Office, the FBI, and NCIS. The primary goal was to bring May home to her family or bring justice to the person responsible for her disappearance. To date, the investigation has included over 67 search warrants, 87 interviews, review and investigation of over 130 tips, and thousands of hours of methodical investigative efforts. These efforts ultimately generated a variety of pieces of evidence that have become clear and overwhelming. Larry Millete, May's husband, is responsible for May's murder and disappearance. Today is a step towards justice, but it does not mark the end of our investigation. The Chula Vista Police Department will continue to seek answers for her family. Today is about May, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about her. May was loved by her family and friends and was committed to her children. May's murder and disappearance has impacted so many over the past 9 months, including many people who had never even met May. Yet they rallied around her family and helped keep May's disappearance in the spotlight. While understandably the family and public want answers, our investigative team must follow the facts and the evidence that has led us to today. Our team did not stop. They relentlessly pursued justice. They wanted nothing more than to find out what happened to May, and as we now know, to hold her killer accountable. Homicide detectives say that they speak for victims who cannot speak for themselves. Their mission is one of compassion for victims and victim families. They are dedicated to being able to bring closure and accountability to those involved in these tragic events. This case will ultimately be placed in the hands of a jury who will be given the chance to evaluate all the evidence and the facts. While we are here to report the arrest of Larry Millete, nothing will change the fact that May's murder is a senseless tragedy. A mother is gone. A family is broken. And a community is left with questions and confusion. This affects us all, but it affects most of all those who loved and cared for May. Today you will notice that officers and family members are wearing purple ribbons. It is not lost on any of us that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Domestic violence is prevalent in every community and affects all people regardless of age, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, race, religion, or nationality. This is a time to acknowledge domestic violence survivors and be a voice for its victims. I would like to thank my entire team at the Chula Vista Police Department that you all see around you, along with our partners, the District Attorney's Office and DA Summer Steffen, FBI San Diego and Special Agent in charge Suzanne Turner, U.S. Marshals San Diego Division and Supervisor Deputy Marshal Paul Beal. And unfortunately, they couldn't be here today, but San Diego NCIS and Special Agent in charge Josh Flowers. I'd also like to give a special thank you to the Cold Case Foundation, who also helped through this process. Their support of all these partners and their commitment has been invaluable to this case. I would also like to thank the many volunteers and community members who are here today. Thank you. You've been there the whole time to support May's family, and we appreciate it. And to May's family, I want you to know that I pray every day that we find May and we give closure to your family. I'd now like to introduce our District Attorney, Summer Steffen.
Thank you, Chief Kennedy. I'm Summer Steffen, San Diego County's District Attorney. On Monday, October 18th, yesterday, my office filed a criminal case in San Diego County Superior Court charging Larry Millete with the murder of May. More specifically, count 1 alleges that Larry Millete unlawfully killed May on or about January 7th of 2021 in violation of Penal Code Section 187. There's also a second charge of illegal possession of an assault weapon. Following his arrest today, the defendant was booked into jail and is being held without bail. He is scheduled to be arraigned this Thursday at 1:30 in the afternoon at the South Bay Courthouse. Whenever one of our community goes missing, we hope for their safe return. I know that is what May's family wanted. Sometimes missing person cases remain unsolved, but as the evidence unfolded in this case, meticulously and carefully, block by block, it pointed in one direction, that May was murdered. As we make this announcement, I know the hearts of the community are broken, as are the hearts of May's family. I wish we had better news for them. The only thing that we can do in the face of this senseless violence is to bring justice, to work tirelessly to make sure that we cannot bring May back, but that we can bring justice. And that's what it's about. As we make this announcement, understand that there's going to be questions about the fact that May's body is still missing. California law, and similar to across the nation, is very clear that the murder charges, that we can file murder charges despite not having a body. In fact, the law is so crystal clear that we cannot let someone murder someone and gain a benefit by hiding the body in a way that we can't discover it. In fact, there is case law that we will be using in this case that makes it even more clear that a missing body is circumstantial evidence that there was foul play and that it's a murder, because somebody who takes their own life cannot hide their own body. We filed this case based on the evidence that was developed during an extensive 9-month investigation. Chief Kennedy and her team left no stone unturned. I am so proud to work with Chula Vista Police Department and its brave members that put everything on the line to help bring May home, and in the absence of that, to find who killed her. When Chief Kennedy called on my office to assist, the answer was a resounding yes. I assembled an elite team that includes a homicide prosecutor, a district attorney investigator, a cold case homicide investigator, and a crime intelligence analyst, to name a few. We had one goal in mind. We worked hand in hand with Chula Vista Police Department to turn over every stone to solve this case. I have to pause and thank the DA team that are here with me today, the essential team that devoted themselves to this case and will continue this fight for justice going forward in the courtroom of law. Our homicide prosecutor, Christy Bowles, back here, our lead district attorney investigator, James Rhodes, and our cold case homicide investigator, Matt Grindley, along with our crime intelligence analyst, Peter Villafort, who you will learn was able to uncover some key evidence, with the support of Chief Deputy District Attorney Tracy Pryor and Commander Eric Nava. Thanks so much that San Diego shined, as it always does, with collaboration with the FBI, U.S. Marshal, NCIS joining us as they have whenever there was a call to duty. I'm going to provide a brief synopsis of the evidence. Understand that a lot of the evidence cannot be shared. It will be shared in the courtroom. However, there is an unsealed portion of the arrest warrants that includes evidence that would not compromise additional investigation. This case, the investigation in this case, while we know that Larry Millete is responsible for the murder, is ongoing, and bringing May home to have a proper burial for her family is ongoing. So what you will get is the things that will not compromise a jury trial. One of the main reasons I'm providing this is that now that Larry Millete has been arrested and is being held on no bail, it is our experience that there are people out there that often have information, but they feel uncomfortable, they feel worried, they feel scared, they have loyalties, and they don't come forward until an arrest is made. We've experienced that repeatedly. We are hopeful that now is the time that you come forward if you have any information. We also know more facts now that might help somebody who saw the vehicle that we believe was the transport vehicle that was used to dispose of May's body, to search their memories and understand from what I'm going to describe that there is no specific location and that the radius may be very vast and large. So it can be someone in the county, somebody outside our county. That's why we appreciate the media attention that hopefully will allow someone to see this and think, I did see Alexis pulled off the road somewhere on January 8th of 2021, and to call us and provide that peace to the family of May. The investigators found, and when I say the investigators, I mean Chula Vista Police Department, working with the DA's office, working with our partners, that starting in 2020 and continuing until January 7 of 2021, May wanted a divorce for many reasons. Her husband, Larry, did not want the divorce. May was committed to her 3 young children. They were the center of her life. She wanted to continue being a parent, and she tried to negotiate that they can be parents to their children, but not subject the children to a toxic relationship. But Larry would not have it. In homicide cases, there's often a triggering event. In this case, on January 7 of 2021, May was no longer talking about divorce. She took that step, and the last call recorded that May made was to a divorce attorney. She did not make any further calls. When she called the divorce attorney on January 7, we know that Larry was aware, because he sent text messages that were screenshot to his boss that let him know that this was final, that it was coming. It also turns out, and this is from extensive search warrants, everything is done by the book, extensive search warrants that were done by Chula Vista Police Department with the help of our team, that uncovered a trail of things that were happening that were of great concern. Larry was trying to hold on to May, and he resorted to contacting what are called spellcasters. I've never had a case where that was involved. These spellcasters would be asked to make May want to stay in the relationship. But as December of 2020 came, those messages to spellcasters were a lot more threatening. He was asking for May to become incapacitated, for May to be in an accident, to have broken bones so that she could stay at home, thus displaying his homicidal ideations to harm May. The January 7th date was very clear. She not only had called the divorce lawyer, but she had set an appointment for January 12th to meet with the divorce lawyer in order to carry out the divorce. She wanted that date and not Friday, January 7th, because their daughter had a birthday that she had planned, and again, the kids were the center of her world. And she did not want to do anything to disrupt that birthday that was going to take place on January 10. The last text message that May sent was on January 7th at 8:15 p.m. to her family. She sent that on Facebook Messenger. That's another set of warrants that were done. In the afternoon of January 7, Larry Millete sent a really telling text He said, "I think she wants me to snap," and I'm shaking inside, ready to snap. At 9:21 p.m. on January 7th, Larry screenshot from his account cryptocurrency amounts of money that were in his cryptocurrency to his two daughters, ages 11 and 9. May's phone activity stopped on January 8th at 1:25 a.m. On January 9th, Larry Millete's spellcaster messages that had been sent on a daily basis turned from May to wanting to punish a man that he blames for the failed relationship. This was before Mary Crease had called the police about May being missing. Now we go to November 8th. Security video retained by Chula Vista PD showed the defendant on January 8th at 5:58 a.m. in the morning moving his Lexus GX 460, a black Lexus, with the license plate that bears the name Melani. The Lexus was already backed into the driveway, but Larry Millete repositioned that Lexus where the back of the Lexus is in the entrance of that garage. He repositioned it where no video camera can capture whether a body was put in the back of the Lexus or not. But based on that positioning, we're not able to see that vantage point. At 6:45 a.m., after repositioning the car at 5:58 a.m., Larry leaves and he does not return to the house for 11 hours and 21 minutes. He leaves his phone behind so that there is no ability to track the GPS or location on the phone. He takes his 4-year-old and leaves the two older children at home. When asked by investigators, he said that he went to Solano Beach for 11 hours and 20 minutes at the temperature that January 7th is. When shown a map, he pointed to the Torrey Pines Beach, which is 4 miles away from the Solano Beach. On that date, his employer was calling frantically, January 8th. He even called May, saying this is not like Larry not to show up to work, and wondering where Larry was. His father called, checking where he is, but no response. The phone was not operating. On January 26th, detectives served a search warrant to seize the contents of the Lexus's infotainment system. This is an older 2015 Lexus, so it doesn't have the capacity that we have today. The report generated from the download indicates a navigation event on January 8th at 3:29 p.m. in the afternoon for Larry's home address, 2413 Paseo Los Gatos. So 2.5 hours before returning to the home, he is entering his home address to get to the home. And this is why I am giving this information so the public understands that we do not have a vicinity where the body may be. It may be out 2.5 hours or even further or closer. And that's why we need the public's help. Also, Larry's messages that were captured in the search warrant showed that he was informing his boss that she's serious and is going to get the divorce. Larry's father even texted him saying, "Larry, please turn on your phone." This is January 8th, because your boss is calling regarding your job. When a search warrant was served at the residence, they were looking for firearms registered to Larry. Despite a court order, he had not turned over one of those weapons, a .40 caliber gun, and it remains outstanding to today. So again, I tell the public, if you are holding on to that weapon, this is the time to turn it over to police. Detectives also obtained security footage from the neighboring residence and observed the following. On January 7th at approximately 9:57 p.m., the sound of 9 loud bangs were recorded. Unfortunately, despite the excellent work of the FBI, they were not able to confirm whether those were gunshots based on the quality of the recording. But we truly appreciate their efforts and their continued efforts. But at 10:34 p.m., neighbors heard the children, the Millete children, playing in the backyard at 10:34 p.m. on January 7th. This was unusual because of the time of night. On the evening of January 8th, May's brother went to the house around 6:30 p.m. By now, Larry had returned. When he arrived to the residence, he was worried about May because they had not heard from her, and May was always in contact on her phone. He went up to her room and knocked on the door, and there was no response. And then he went out to the street and looked in her room and did not see any lights. Larry first told the brother that he was at work and doesn't know what May is doing. This is January 8th. And then he said that he changed the story and said he went to the beach with the 4-year-old. It's important to note that it was not Larry that called the police to say that May was missing. It was Mary Christ who went to the house, knowing her sister is always in touch and that her sister was looking forward to the birthday in Big Bear, who called the police. Part of a no-body investigation is to look for proof of life. And in this case, for 9 months, there is no proof of life that May is alive. Case law is clear that in today's world of finances and everything being tracked, that shows no proof of life. May excelled at her job. She was committed to her career. She loved her children. She was looking forward to a birthday that was coming up that she had planned. And after January 7th at 8:15 p.m. in the evening, that was her last communication to anyone via text, social media, or phone call. The team also looked at all of the finances, and while she had a savings account and she was making a decent living, there was no withdrawal from any account, not before, not during. All her valuables were left in the house. All 4 cars are accounted for. But a key piece of evidence was where was May's phone, because being able to track that phone gives you a really important piece of the story. And after an extensive recreation, an experiment that was done in September of 2021. It was clear that May's phone was in that San Miguel Ranch neighborhood, at her home or thereabouts. That means that May did not leave, did not go anywhere. She always had her phone. I talked about the financial evidence, which is very, very important. This arrest would not have been possible without the tremendous efforts of Chula Vista Police Department Chief Roxana Kennedy and her team. And I also again want to thank my team for working hand in hand with the Chula Vista Police Department. We ask the public at this point to call with any tips with regard to a Lexus GX460 black license plate Milani. If you saw that vehicle anytime on January 8th, please call and report that information. If you have any information about the missing .40 caliber gun, please call and report that information. If you have any evidence at all that you're aware of, please call and provide that information. While this arrest and the filing of charges starts us down the path of justice, this is not a win. We've lost a life, and all we can do is pursue justice fairly in order to bring justice to this family. Thank you.
Thank you to Chief Kennedy and San Diego County District Attorney Summer Steffen. At this point, I'm going to ask Mary Chris, who's the spokesperson for May and May's family, to come up, and she's going to provide a few words. Thank you, Mary Chris.
Love you. We love you, Mary Chris.
Thank you. I would want to say thank you, everyone, for being here today, for all your support. Of course, I want to thank Chula Vista Police Department for relentlessly working on my sister's case to this point. Chief Roxana Kennedy, thank you so much. You tell us you're praying for my sister. That means a lot to us. The DA's office, thank you so much. Summers, Stephen, thank you so much, and all your team, thank you. They told us they've been working hard, day and night, working on my sister's case, even though we don't see it, but they're working hard to hopefully to get to this point. It's been 9 months, and also with the community support, we were able to do it. Sorry, it is just overwhelming at this time for me. I'm still trying to take it today. It's been really hard. He's a family. He's our family. It's hard to go against a family. He's been with us for 20 years. My sister did love him. She gave him 3 kids. She just can't let him go. And this is still not the end. We're still have a long way to go. We're still asking the public, please help us bring my sister home.
We will, Marie Chris. We will.
I still want to see my sister.
We're here.
I still want her to come home to us. Please, if you know anything at all, please help us. We are pleading. I still want her to come home. We did a promise to her 11-year-old daughter that we will bring her mom home, please. Let the kids know where their mommy is at. Let them know the truth, that they'll still be brought up
And that she didn't abandon them.
healthy.
She didn't just get up and leave. I also want to thank the media for never giving up on the family,
Yes.
on Maya's case. You guys put her face on all the televisions, newscasts, social media. You guys never gave up on us. And you guys didn't let this case become a cold case. Just like the police department. Thank you, everybody, men and women in blue. We love you guys.
Thank you.
And the community that supported us every weekend, every week. Prayers.
Prayers.
Every Thursday we do prayers. Thank you to all the community that came out and every search.
Even the weekdays.
Rain, shine, desert, ticks and all. We were out there searching for our sister, so
We're not going anywhere.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, thank you so much, everyone. It's all a teamwork from everybody. Thank you. We are bringing justice to my sister and we'll bring her home. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
So thank you to Mary Chris and Richard. Like it's been mentioned several times, this is an active and ongoing investigation. We still do not have May's body. And somebody out there may have saw something, or they may know exactly where she is. That person can remain anonymous. They can report it to Crime Stoppers, or they can call the Chula Vista Police Department or the District Attorney's Office. And please provide that information. All it could take is one tip, one lead to lead us to where May's body is. With that, I will open it up to a few questions. If they are specific to the District Attorney's Office, let me know. If they're specific to the Chula Vista Police Department, I'll be happy to try to answer
I have a
that.
question for Summer, please. Summer, I realize that you're not going to talk in depth about the evidence, but can you tell us the guns that were confiscated and the other things taken from the house, does any of that constitute physical evidence that points you to Larry Millete? Or is this just largely a circumstantial case?
Yeah, I can't talk about the evidence, but it is a case that's built on a piece by piece circumstantial evidence at this point.
Does that concern you in the process of prosecuting?
No, we've prosecuted several missing body cases. Fortunately, in one of them recently, the body was discovered right before the trial. We're hoping that that happens really to bring finality to the family. But we feel very confident about the prosecution and the evidence that we have.
District Attorney, are you able to seek the death penalty without a body and I have a phone?
Seeking the death penalty is not related to whether you have a body or not. It's related to whether we have a special circumstance. Right now, the charges are murder, and there is not an alleged special circumstance. A special circumstance is something like the murder was committed in the course of a robbery, or kidnap, or rape. Those are things that constitute a special circumstance. Maybe some evidence will develop of a special circumstance, but at this point, we have a murder.
And would it be a mitigating factor in Larry Millete's favor if he were to reveal where Maya's body is?
We always want to know where the body is, and we hope that anybody with good conscience will allow May's family and her children to have a burial place to visit their mother.
Are you searching for the cell department area? Is he talking?
Okay, thank you.
We don't answer that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, this is an active and ongoing investigation. There is a lot of questions that we can answer. We obviously want to protect the case, like the Chief Kennedy and District Attorney Summer Stephan had said. This is going to go in front of a jury. At that point, the case will be laid out to a jury. So until that happens, there's a lot of questions that you have that we are not able to provide you answers with today, just due to the fact that this is ultimately going in front of a jury and will be tried there.
I have a question.
Is there any questions specific to the Chula Vista Police Department before we wrap it up?
Question for Chula Vista Police Department over here.
I'll be right with you, ma'am.
Thank you so
First of all,
much.
Lieutenant, will the children be released to Maya's family? Are they going to be okay?
So all I can report is that the children are safe, and I can tell you that this afternoon when Larry was taken into custody for the murder of May, the children were the number one thoughts in our mind to do that safely, to make sure they were never in danger. And once we knew that the children were not in any danger, that's when the SWAT team moved in and took them into custody. I believe there's one question right here.
Yeah, should we still be searching the cell phone ping triangulation area?
So early on in the investigation, it was released to the media, also to May's family, that we had reason to believe that May's phone may have been in the area of the old golf course near her house. When that information was released, we were going on the best info at that time. At this point, we've been able to analyze that data more closely, and we feel that May's phone never left the residence. I have one more question.
You have searched locations for Larry's family members. You have searched in locations where Larry's family members live. Do you have reason to believe that his family members helped him in any way?
At this point in the investigation, the only person that we feel is responsible for May's disappearance and murder is Larry Millete. That'll be all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. We've been listening to a news conference announcing the arrest of Larry Millete. His wife, Maya, has been missing for almost 9.5 months right now.
We heard from two key speakers, the police chief from the city of Chula Vista. We also heard from District Attorney Summer Stephan, who was able to lay out quite a bit of evidence in the case, but did indicate that she is only unveiling at this point what has been unsealed, that there are a number of sealed search warrants and a number of pieces of evidence that she is not able to talk about at this time.
And the biggest thing we found out, besides the fact that Larry Millete has been arrested, is they still do not have a body.
And they are asking for the public's help, not only to try and locate her, her SUV, and now we are understanding that a gun that Larry owned that has also now been missing.
Yeah, right now we're going to start it's time to start the 4.